Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show here on STV. The main talking points on tonight's programme: FIFA fined the home nations for their show of support for the Poppy. Brendan Rodgers says he'll give youth a chance as Celtic prepare to take on Partick Thistle tomorrow night. And Chris Commons says he'll do everything he possibly can to keep Hibs at the top of the table during his loan spell at Easter Road. Just a few of the points we'll be discussing, as well as looking back over the weekend fixtures and ahead to what's coming up over the festive period. Alan Ruff is alongside me, Peter Martin. I'm delighted to say our bookroom guest on this Monday is Mark Guidi. FIFA fined the home nations, Ruffy, for their support of the Poppy. This has resulted in England getting the heaviest fine, £35,000. Scotland and Wales £15,000, Northern Ireland just over £11,000, and also the Republic of Ireland got just under £4,000 of a fine for obviously their support of the Easter 1916 uprising. So, there is a suggestion that Scotland have had a fight. A part of that fine is about the fans booing the national anthem of England, God Save the Queen.
Yeah, well, as far as the Poppy's concerned, I think we were all outraged by the decision at the time, and quite rightly so. I thought it was a wrong decision, but at the time we said, look, let's just take the fine. Let's go against what they were saying, take the fine and move on. I don't think the fine's too hard, so yeah, let's just move on. As far as the booing the national anthem, I think we'd all agree it is out of order to boo anybody's national anthem. You have to show a bit of respect. But again, take the fine and move on.
Yeah. The problem here, Mark, is it's not quite as simple as that, because it could become a recurring theme over the years if you suddenly in a FIFA tournament and it falls in November, in a similar situation. This has incensed a lot of people anyway, because a lot of the home nations at times seem to be at war with whatever FIFA does.
Yeah, I think first of all, being fined for wearing the Poppy and for everything that stands for is a disgrace. You should be allowed to do it, as far as I'm concerned. But what I do hope under FIFA and Gianni Infantino, the new leader, is that whatever decisions they come to, Peter, and I'd love to know how they come up with these sums, where these sums come from and how they justify the amount of money involved. But as long as they're consistent, though. That's what you want to see. You want to see consistency, but their guidelines, they really have to look at their guidelines, and it can't just be one for all, because there's certain situations where you've got to give a bit of leeway.
Yeah, but FIFA would probably answer back and say, the guidelines are fairly straightforward. No religious emblems or show of any religious beliefs within the football stadium when it's all to do with football. Nothing of a political nature, which they have already stated, is the Poppy, and they have the reasoning behind that as well. And I suppose the other aspect of it is, who's to say that another country may well look at something else with the same sentiment? I mean, I think that a lot of people in Britain have said, look, the sentiment behind the Poppy is it's not in any way to antagonise any other country. It is about people who have given their lives for their country and sadly lost their lives. But what's to stop other countries suddenly commemorating other battles, other wars, down through the years?
Well, yeah, that's right. Yeah, they have got to have rules and guidelines, but I think they've got to look at each individual case on its own merit, and you should be allowed to present a case and then FIFA make a decision. I don't think you can just have a page of rules and it's one size fits all. I think you've got to look at each individual case. But the other thing for me is, we're a football programme, and here we are.
Yeah.
Once again, the headlines are being dominated by a fine from FIFA for a non-footballing issue, albeit it carries importance in this part of the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, it would be naive of us to think that sport, politics, it doesn't mix. It almost certainly does. So moving on from the Poppy, which will undoubtedly rage on now that the fine has been handed out, to football. Brendan Rodgers, off the back of that win against Dundee, says he will give some of the younger players a chance to get into the starting lineup, because it is a pretty hectic festive period for Celtic.
Yes, it is. They've got tomorrow night against Partick Thistle. That's going to be their third home game. They'd love to get the 9 points out of 9. Peter, he's certainly got a big enough squad to go and rotate it. Ryan Christie got his chance at the weekend. Lee Griffiths got the nod up front ahead of Moussa Dembele. So Celtic looking just to keep that momentum going, building towards the big game that we all know that takes place at Hogmanay at Ibrox against Rangers. But so far things going very well for Celtic.
Do you think Dembele will stay?
Will stay
at Celtic?
Well, I think they'll certainly be. I don't think they'll sell him next month. No. I'd be very, very surprised. It would send out the wrong message, even though I think they'll still possibly still win the treble without Moussa Dembele there. However, I think you've got to keep him for a year. I think an ideal scenario for Celtic, you keep him till next August. You keep him till through the Champions League qualifiers, and hopefully he plays his part to help Celtic get into the qualifier. Then the last week of August, you look if all parties want to do it, and there's a 12, a 14, a 15 million quid bid there, then by all means cash in, they've got to. But I think it would send out the wrong message to sell him next month.
Yeah, he's just been awarded the Young Player of the Year for France, Ruffy. Strangely enough, I actually think the best time to sell him would be next January, because then he's got a second bite at 21 years of age at the Champions League group stages if he can help guide them there.
Yeah, but I think we all know it depends who comes in. I think we all know it depends what kind of money's been thrown about here. There might be a club out there come in with silly money, and Celtic haven't been known, to turn down say 12 million, 13 million. And again, it depends on what club. It depends on the player as well. It depends what kind of agreement that he's got with Celtic. Obviously, he come up for, I think it was $500,000. And he will have some kind of clause if somebody comes in with something that they have to have a look at it. But I think the Celtic supporters would be hoping that he stays a wee bit longer. The interesting thing for me at the weekend was Lee Griffiths, quite rightly, throwing a wee case for himself. If I'm scoring goals, shift me. And it was interesting, Brendan Rodgers coming out after it and sort of saying he's getting more to learn in his game. Just to keep him down there rather than shouting for the rooftop. So it's an interesting one if he plays him again against Partick Thistle and he scores another couple. It's a good dilemma to be in. Yeah,
let's switch our attention from the top end of the table to the opposition, who are at the bottom end of the table in Partick Thistle. I thought they played some really good football at Tynecastle. Were unlucky not to get all 3 points, Mark.
Yeah, Sean Welsh has been getting a couple of goals. For them, he scored against Hamilton Accies a couple of weeks ago, another one there. I think he won chalked off against Celtic a couple of Fridays ago. So, I think Partick Thistle have got enough there, Peter, to eventually climb away from the situation they're in. And I'm surprised that they are where they are. But if you look at Celtic's results recently, or the last 2 home games, certainly, as much as they've been winning, they've not been running away with it. It's not 3-4-5-0. So I think Partick Thistle will go there feeling they've got a chance. Dundee scored, came close a couple of times at the weekend. So I think there's a bit of talent in that Thistle team to pose Celtic problems tomorrow night.
Still think they need a striker in the window, Ruffy. Need somebody to convert the chances.
Yeah, it's a difficult one to come up to. Where does he go, to attract that striker? He's done very well, Alan, with some of the guys that he's brought in. But you're right, at the weekend, they had chances late on in that game to get another 3 points, and it's another couple of points thrown out the window. Yeah,
I nearly fell off the chair at the weekend, Mark, when a reporter asked Ian Cathro if he was asking the fans for patience. And I thought, the world's gone mad. He's 2 games into his tenure as a manager. Come on, cut him some slack here.
Yeah, I think the Hearts fans too, I don't like to see any set of supporters booing their own team or booing an individual player.
Why not? If you're not happy with the performance, it's nothing to do with the manager. It's nothing to do with the manager. Just the team have drawn 1-1.
Yeah, I just don't like booing full stop when it involves your own, particularly when Hearts are sitting in a decent position in the league. It's the first home game, still getting to know the players. They're not happy with the result. That's natural, but do you really need to boo? No, I don't think you do.
I think it was just the way the game was going. In the last 10-15 minutes, nothing was happening for them. Partick Thistle were having all the chances, and again, it's expectations. The Hearts fans expect their team to be number 2, and that performance at the weekend, it didn't look like it.
Okay, Ian Cathro, very much like Pep Guardiola, says he's going to stick to his principles. He won't be budging once he just gets to work over a longer period with Hearts. Maybe we'll start to see his style. Don't forget, on this programme you'll see all sorts of hypocrisy over the two parts of the programme. Mark Guidi certainly boos me at the fives, and now suddenly he's taking the moral high ground. I'll have a word with him in the break, and then we'll be back with more chat, including Rangers. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show here on STV, and let's look back over the weekend results. In the Premiership, it's Celtic with that 2-1 win over Dundee. Hearts held by Partick Thistle to a 1-1 draw. It was Kilmarnock 1, Inverness 1, and there's the shock, I think, of the weekend scorelines. Ross County 2, Aberdeen 1, and the other match ended in a draw as well. Derek McInnes under pressure to finish second?
I don't think he's under pressure to finish second. Do you mean internally for his job? I wouldn't think so. I think you look at Aberdeen over a number of years before Derek arrived, and they were a yo-yo to actually fighting just to get into the top six. So Derek stabilised the club. He's won silverware, but there'll be a pressure from within himself to go and finish second, to go and beat Rangers and to beat Hearts. But certainly Saturday's was a poor result, and that's something that he has to bring to the club and to his players this season, is a better level of consistency. Yeah,
I agree with you on that. I think, I read a few articles just talking about the pressure on it, and I thought he's definitely not one of the managers you look at and think, there's any great pressure if they don't finish second when you consider, the budgets that are on offer. But have Hearts and Aberdeen blown it now? Are we now at that, was the weekend the pivotal moment here where you thought, okay, there's been big questions asked, you've slipped up at key points, this is Rangers and then the rest?
No, I still think there's games out there to be won and lost. I think the games will be very important against Rangers when Hearts and Aberdeen play them, and obviously the games over the festive period as well, be important. So I think once that's out the road, we can sit back and look at it. But certainly Rangers just now, when they're going ahead in games against most of the teams in the league, they're looking comfortable. They're looking a lot better than what they were. They're still losing the odd silly goal. But apart from that, I think they're playing a lot better than what they were at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I think over the weekend, Ruffy, there's only one match that I've got to get your thoughts on as a goalkeeper. In fact, both of you in the goalkeepers' union, St Johnstone against Motherwell. It was an absolute howler that gave Motherwell their opening goal. Yeah,
it's one of these ones that you're scratching your head. Why it happened? He never actually physically threw the ball into the net. It was just the way he tried to get his hands around the ball, and it just ricocheted off and went in. It was a howler. You can see the reaction of the goalkeeper when it happened, but it doesn't matter what goalkeeper you are, it's going to happen to you at some stage, and you've just got to move on from it.
Yeah, it's probably the one occasion where as a goalkeeper you can't stand up and go to your centre halves. It's just you. You just have to go in and
hands up, deal with it. Yeah. Alexander Clark is a good young goalkeeper, and these things will happen once or twice a season, but it's about how you recover from it.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, it's a strange old week this week. Friday games, and of course 2 on the Saturday in the Premiership before everybody gets ready for Christmas. What about the Championship, guys? Chris Commons came in. I was surprised at how deep he was playing for Hibernian. In the end, it was a 1-1 draw, and he's mentioned that he'll do everything he can in this loan period to try and keep them up there at the top. Could it be longer in your mind?
Yeah, I have a feeling it will go to the end of the season, Peter. And if Hibs come up, it could become a permanent move. I think he's kind of reached that stage of his career where he knows that for him now it's really about playing football for as long as he can, and he'll still earn some nice money. But the days of him, his next contract earning £750,000 to £1 million a year, those days are gone. But he's still got fantastic ability. I thought he was looking in good shape as well, actually, all things considered. He's not kicked a first team ball this season unless I'm mistaken, and he likes Neil Lennon. They're a good fit together. Neil signed him for Celtic, he's now taken him to Hibs, so there's a good chemistry there, and it'll be good for the young guys if he's got that movement round about him, if he's got legs round about him. Chris Commons, just pick the passes all day long.
Yeah, I think that, I don't disagree with you on that, Mark, because I think the attraction of maybe even a coaching role there, Ruffy, might just hook him in for a longer period.
Yeah, I think Neil Lennon will be hoping that, obviously, with McGinn still being out, McGee being out, they're big players as well. But I think if you got them back, with obviously Chris still there, as Mark said, at the weekend there, he was pulling the strings, and he'll enjoy being, the main man in that Hibs side. And once they start winning again, I'm sure he'll be a big player for them.
Yep, here's the results over the weekend in the Championship, and St Mirren against Ayr United, it ended 1-1 as well. More than a few draws. In fact, I think the biggest shock, which would have annoyed Jack Ross, was the Dumbarton defeat of Falkirk, Mark.
Yeah, that's a sore one for the clubs down the bottom, because they're hoping that Dumbarton get sucked right in, and it becomes 3 or 4 teams in there. But a good result for them, as you say, Peter. 4 draws out of 5, and already, and you can see it in that kind of bottom 6 of the Premiership as well. Nerves are kicking in already, and I think probably in terms of the top half of, or the bottom half of the top flight, as nobody wants to be detached going into the winter break, and our Championship, so much going on at the top, and at the bottom you see teams always thinking, what, we'll settle for a point, 75, 80 minutes gone, let's just not do anything daft, rather than maybe pushing on to go and win it.
Yeah, you see, the key for me on this, Ruffy, is, over the last 2 or 3 transfer windows, I've seen a little stimulant in the transfer window, as far as clubs actually just pushing the boat out and starting to go out and, purchase players or get them in loan deals or whatever, because the last couple of years before that it was a stalemate. I mean, I don't think we were on alert for any big transfers, but I think this January transfer window, anybody that takes a little punt might reap the rewards. Well,
there are some clubs with new managers, and the managers have been in there long enough to assess what they've got, and they'll have ideas of what kind of players they want. And it's all a matter of getting the players out rather than bringing them in, because some players just sit tight. But I think clubs like St Mirren, I think you'll find that he'll actively be putting people on that notepad and trying to get them in.
Okay, couple of points I want to get your thoughts on, lads, before we finish on the programme, as well as the Championship. Here's a look at the results from League One over the weekend. And again, Brecon with a good win. East 5, my tip for the division. Peter Header just letting me down. I think I'm going to have to let that go, Ruffy. And Livingston again with another good win over Airdrieonians. And as far as League 2, this was how it all shaped up in League 2 as well. Good win for Arbroath, and couldn't separate them between Clyde and Edinburgh City, but again, Forfar at the top end of the table, winning it in a 7-goal thriller against Cowdenbeath. There's a small matter of the Merseyside derby tonight, Mark. Everton, they've managed to defeat Arsenal, so they'll have their tails up. Liverpool, I think they need to win this one to keep everybody's belief that they are in this title race.
They do need to win it, Peter. I'd agree with you, and I think it was also the right decision by Jurgen Klopp to bring back Mignolet in goals, and that decision told me a lot about Klopp, because it was easy to stand by his fellow countryman, the guy that he signed in the summer, paid £4 million for, but he didn't. So it shows you that he'll do what is absolutely right. He's not stubborn. He does makes the right decisions for the club and for the team, and for that reason I think Liverpool will win tonight. I think Liverpool are going to be right there, right up into the wire. It'll bring in 1 or 2 next month. Are fantastic to watch, middle to front.
Yeah,
absolutely brilliant. But Chelsea are going to take a bit of stopping as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think Arsenal might have blown it again, Ruffy.
Yeah, it's the inconsistency there. We all said last year that was the time for them to win it, and again, some murmurings of it could be this year where some of the teams dropping points, but they're falling into that category now. They're not picking up points when you think they are.
Yep, absolutely. And don't let anybody tell you that the older you get, the less impact that you can make in a team. Zlatan Ibrahimovic, 16 goals, Ruffy, in 25 appearances. I mean, he's absolutely unbelievable. He's just mentioned that he's like a fine red wine. He's getting better as he gets older. 10 goals in his last 9 games.
Well, that's why you pay the money. You pay the money for the big time player, and the big time player, when the chips are down, comes up with the goods, and that's what he's doing just now.
Yeah, I like that wee bit of arrogance about him as well. I like that in a footballer, Mark. I know you don't, because you certainly give me belters. But what about Ronaldo? I mean, he's won everything. He's part of the Real Madrid side. They won the World Club Cup, and he's also Champions League, European Championship, Ballon d'Or. He's the only footballer to do it all in the same year. It's incredible.
It is incredible. He's a special talent. He works hard. He's absolutely dedicated to his profession, and he reaps the rewards. And it's it's a message to all young footballers that want to get involved. And you've got to be dedicated. You've got to make sacrifices. And I think the perfect role model for everybody, especially young Scots, is Andy Murray. What he's achieved in sport. And it was great to see him winning that award last night too.
Yeah, absolutely great to just sneak that in, Ruffy. Andy Murray, I know you're a big fan yourself. Andy Murray, the Sports Personality of the Year, and again Scottish, three times he's won it now.
Yeah, I've actually felt sorry for Jamie Murray, who never got a mention.
Yeah, only you could see the negative in a positive story. I thought we were going to end it on a positive note. From Ruffy, Mark Guidi and myself, good night.